Welcome to Black and Gold Digital Edition, a behind-the-scenes look at your Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hi, and welcome to our digital show. I'm Jay Puskar alongside Mike Fenner and Kent Urbanski. And guys, the Pittsburgh Steelers continue to make team history. They are now 9-0. And Kent, what a performance by the Steelers against the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 10.
Yeah, I think they went out, executed the game plan perfectly, and dominated the football game from beginning to end. What I liked about it is they never really gave Cincinnati an opportunity to get in the game and to get any confidence. And there is the problem with a little bit of a lack of a run game, but I think they make up for that with the short pass. But somewhere down the road, they're going to have to establish that, especially as the weather, it is cold, but as this keeps turning colder, maybe some poor weather, you're going to need to have some balance and run the ball.
And Mike, I guess the real question in all of this is who needs to practice? I mean, Ben Roethlisberger sat out the whole week because of COVID-19 issues, and just the Steelers not really able to get the whole team out there this week. They looked pretty good.
Zoom sessions and watching the kids, that's all you needed to worry about this week. And yeah, you seem to be on the same page with everybody still without practicing all week long. But, it is an interesting argument. Go to Coach Tomlin. Hey, Coach Fenner, Coach Tomlin, I don't really need to be out here. Is this okay? 38-year-old wily veteran. He can get it done on game day, and as long as you perform on game day, nobody's going to really care too much. 333 yards passing, 4 touchdowns on 46 attempts, and, spreading it to 3 different receivers on those touchdown passes too. So another big game.
They kept him clean. I don't think he was sacked on the entire game too. So that's huge.
How much does the MVP talk start to creep in for Ben Roethlisberger? Because early on it was for the young guys, the guys that have been in the league for 2 or 3 years, but now you've got a guy that's won 2 Super Bowl championships, and he's a great veteran, and he's leading an undefeated team right now.
Well, just look at it this way. Last year they were 8-8 without him. This year they're 9-0 with him. If that's not statement enough to put him in the running for an MVP, I don't know what is.
Is there a reason why the national spotlight really hasn't been drawn to Ben being a candidate, or is it just the new flashy object out there with these younger guys and just the way they play football?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's kind of surprising because everyone still wants to talk about Patrick Mahomes. I think Lamar Jackson talk has really cooled down quite a bit, especially with Pittsburgh beating Baltimore head-to-head. The Ravens have got a couple losses on their belt now, and it's kind of surprising because I guess everyone wants to gravitate to the defense and give them all the credit that they deserve, and rightfully so, but yeah, like Kent just said, they were 8-8 last year. They were a dominant defense. I mean, they were arguably the best defense in football and still didn't make the playoffs. And now you're talking about a team that's running the table, and we're literally talking about potentially 16-0, 15-1, 14-2. So I'm not sure, but I think he doesn't have to worry about that too much because it's going to keep coming as long as they keep getting wins.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think he's ever been nominated for MVP in the league. So I mean, maybe this is his year.
Yeah.
I certainly agree with that. And of course, guys, these guys are heading now to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. And on paper, we mentioned this in the matchup against the Cowboys. This matchup here, 9-0 versus 1-8. But if you ask Mike Tomlin about this matchup, he just totally dismissed, that quote trap game. And he really takes this team very seriously going into Week 11.
Well, Pittsburgh doesn't have a real good track record against these guys. So, this is not a great football team, but it's a better football team than a team that, an expansion team that just came into the league that the Steelers lost to, I think, 95, 96 or something like that. So they need to go down there and handle their business and not take any team at this point for granted. But I think they go down there and win this game pretty easily in Jacksonville.
And sometimes, Mike, it's weird where the teams from the north that go down to either Miami or Jacksonville, and there's still that humidity down there. A lot of the teams from the north tend to struggle in matchups like that. Could that even be a possible concern, the intangibles of that type of scenario?
Yeah, it could be. It could be a concern, but honestly, I just think you got to focus on stopping the run when it comes down to that. The game plan itself, James Robinson, 4th in the league in rushing. A rookie undrafted out of Illinois State has really he's impressed a lot more than I thought he would. I mean, a guy that's really come out of nowhere, coming off another 100-yard game against the Packers. Jacksonville had the Packers on the ropes this past week. Green Bay had to come back late in that game to win it 24-20. So, yeah, I mean, 1-8, not a great record. They don't have Gardner Minshew right now. I'm a little disappointed. I wanted to put on the fake mustache and emulate the Minshew
Get that little
mania
Sharpie out
bit.
there.
So we won't see any of his antics, at least for this week and going forward. But yeah, Jake Luton in a quarterback, a guy that is being forced to throw a lot more than he'd like to. So they've got some pieces, like Keelan Cole, guys like here and there, but Honestly, I think the Steelers just have to shut down the run, and then it's going to make Jacksonville really uncomfortable, even more so than a Joe Burrow this past week, which they were able to do too.
Ken, how important is it for Mike Tomlin to really stress that, yeah, they're 1-8, but these are professional athletes. They want to go out there, they want to compete, and if anything, they want to put good tape out there for guys that may, either leave the franchise or be able to sign elsewhere next year. I mean, how important is it to make that message clear to these guys and not take it for granted?
Well, I think he's preached the right message this whole entire year, that it's next man up, it's next team up, and they're not taking anybody for granted. Their eyes are on the bigger prize down the road, and if winning these games, he's had some games in the past where they've fallen to teams like this. I don't think that's going to happen this year. I think he's got this team primed and ready to play, and Jacksonville, they need to stop the run. The running back, James Robinson from Illinois, I think he's an undrafted guy, and I think he's actually got the NFL record for the most yardage for any undrafted rookie coming in. So they need to buckle down and stop him, or he can have a big running game like some teams have had against the Steelers.
Finally, guys, 2020 has certainly been a challenge for everybody across the board, but when it comes to football, what are you thankful for? Kent?
I've had some time to think about this, and with this year, the way it's been with COVID 2020 and I think everybody's kind of COVID out, and I think the Steelers with their 9-0 record has kind of kept a lot of people, with some hope and given some people some things something to look forward to. So I'm thankful that the Steelers are 9-0 and giving people that one thing maybe that they can look forward to on Sundays.
I know from a production standpoint, we're grateful that they're having a winning season, and it's been an icing on the cake where it's been an undefeated start too. Mike, what about you?
An offense that can throw the ball down the field. All due respect to Devlin, Duck Hodges, and Mason Rudolph at times last year, but boy, yeah, now that they've got the whole package, they can throw the ball downfield, they can score points offensively. It's a fun football team to watch, and even though sometimes they do live on the edge, at least both units are stepping up, and it's not just, okay, does the defense have to score this week? Do they have to score twice? Do they have to play a perfect ball game and hope and pray? But yeah, the fact that they've got an offense, a vertical passing attack is pretty great.
Well, and I'm also grateful for the fact that in a league that is always about look at me, the ego, the selfishness, this is a complete opposite program right now. The Steelers, they give a lot of credit to the coaching staff, their fellow teammates. I mean, there's nothing more refreshing than to have those post-game comments be taking place. Guys like T.J. Watt, Bud Dupree, everybody giving credit to other players and not themselves. And that's been a real blessing to watch throughout the course of the regular season and hopefully throughout the postseason as well. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us once again. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and make sure it's a safe one as well. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for watching. Join us again next week for Black and Gold Digital Edition.